Hi friends, my name is Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you what I am currently reading. This is in preparation for, fingers crossed, tomorrow's video, which should be a reading vlog. I really want to try and finish what I start because the theme for Q2 of the year, if you watched my Q2 goals video, is to finish what I start. I am in the middle of quite a few books. Some of them I am reading more actively than others, and so I'm hoping that by talking through these books that have been sitting here a while, I can re-spark my interest in them. The first book on the stack is Dear Genius, which is a collection of the letters of Ursula Nordstrom. Ursula Nordstrom is basically responsible for changing children's publishing and making it what it is today. She published a lot of groundbreaking books, in addition to just a lot of children's classics, like things that are still widely read, widely studied. And so I'm having a lot of fun going through her letters, learning about her life, and then also reading some of the things that she did publish. The next thing I have here is The Girl Aquarium by Jen Campbell. So Jen Campbell is a YouTuber and a writer, and if you haven't heard of Jen, I'm surprised. So this is the second last of my pre-orders. So for this year, I set myself the rule of no longer pre-ordering books. The Girl Aquarium is Jen's full-length poetry collection, first full-length poetry collection, I believe. She's had poems published in other smaller formats or singly before, but I don't think she's had a complete collection, if I am correct. And so I've read the first few, but I was super sleep deprived that day, and I read the first poem and I was like, oh, I like this. And then I read the second poem and I was like, I don't get it. And I reread the second poem and I was like, I had a headache behind the eyes for probably 3 or 4 days. I was just so tired. I had a tired headache. So I think I'm gonna start it again from the beginning, but I did really enjoy the first poem when I wasn't tired. The next book I have here is Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. I have read this before. I picked this up again in anticipation of reading Shout. So Speak is a fictionalized account of sexual assault and the resulting trauma of that experience. And Shout is, I believe, a poetry account of Anderson's experience of being sexually assaulted and then being a sexual assault survivor. So I do want to refamiliarize myself with Speak before I go into Shout. It's a dark book, and I feel like you need to balance the darkness with some light. So I put that down for a little bit. I will pick it up. The next book I have here is Refuse, Hamlet, and Ruins, edited together by Hannah McGregor, Julie Rack, and Aaron Wonker. So this is interrogating what exactly Hamlet is and the dumpster fire that Hamlet currently is. And as somebody who reads a lot of Hamlet and who thinks that Hamlet can be really important, I think it's also important to interrogate what Hamlet actually is and to think critically about this sort of marketing category or genre category. So I do want to pick this back up and finish it, especially because I would like to do a video reflecting on a video series that I started in my very first year on YouTube, and it was a Canadian A series, and it was pretty misguided. Looking back on it, it was a pretty misguided series, I think. And I have left it in a playlist, and the description for the playlist is a marker of self-learning, I suppose. I don't quite feel the same way, I guess, as I used to, so I'm hoping to read Hamlet and Ruins and then maybe talk about what Hamlet means to me, how I understand the concept, and what I want to do with that playlist if it still wants to exist on my channel. The next book I have here is the book that my patrons voted on, and that is The English Patient by Michael Ondaatje. So this is on my April TBR. I'm actually really super excited about it. I started reading it and it's so good. The thing is, I feel like it's the type of thing where I would like to sit down and read as much of it in one shot. I feel like this book will really benefit from me sitting down on a day off and just consuming a large chunk of it in one go. We are approaching Easter weekend, and I'm hoping that in that mess of 4 days where I'm off and on and off and on from work, that on one of those off days I can just sit down and read this and just bury myself in Michael Ondaatje's beautiful, beautiful writing, because I love his writing. The next book I have here is Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. So this is about being vulnerable, and I think it's important to think about vulnerability. The problem I'm having is that this is one of those books where it maybe would have made sense to read all in one sitting as well, or like in quick succession, and I'm not sure if I want to go back to the beginning or if I just want to try and get into her ideas about vulnerability armor. I'll have to give it a try and then reevaluate. The next book I have here, I was supposed to be dedicating way more time to than I have been. I'm actually like 2/4 behind on my reading for Der Märchen Erzähler by Antonia Michaelis. So I'm supposed to be reading one German book a month, and I'm finding that I don't have time to read in English with all of the things that I'm working on, let alone in German. But I think the more I read in German, the easier it gets and the less tiring it is. When I first started reading Die Mitte der Welt in German, I couldn't read for very long because, this sounds so weird, but I would get tired. It was exhausting to read and I guess do so much mental gymnastics. I don't know if that makes sense. I am getting better at it. Sitting down for longer periods and reading a text in German doesn't tire me the way it used to when I first started, so I am behind, but I feel like, again, this is a day of reading to catch up and get to my goals to keep on track. The next book I have here is part of my Ursula Nordstrom secret project, and that is I'll Get There, It Better Be Worth the Trip by John Donovan. So this is credited as being the first English language middle grade fiction with gay themes. It is a little bit oddly written, and it is also dark. And I started reading it last week in the A Day of Reading video. I wanted happy books, and I was like, oh, middle grade and gay, yay! The boy's grandmother is dead at the beginning, and he is going to live with his mother, who doesn't normally take care of him because she's an alcoholic. So this is gonna be dark. I just have a giant pile of darkness right here. The next book I have here is like the light in all of that darkness, and that is Ungovernable, The Victorian Parent's Guide to Raising Flawless Children by Therese O'Neill. This is historical research that Therese O'Neill pulls together in a humorous guide. So you're learning about weird historical facts on Victorian parenting, but just it's so sarcastic and witty, and I love it. So I am very much enjoying this and look forward to continuing to read this in between all of the really dark and depressing books that I'm currently reading. Those are the books that I am currently reading. Hopefully the next video you see will be a reading vlog. I do really want to sit down and get some reading done and have some things to review. Also just take some time to rest because I've been working so hard on so many projects that I think it's important to balance that with something that I find really relaxing, like reading. Before we go, we have to thank my patrons. Thank you, patrons, for making videos like this, for making the project of VEDA possible. Know that I am also working on long-form projects and that your support there helps me out a lot. Thank you, patrons. If you are interested in becoming a patron, links to that will be in the description box down below. And let me know your thoughts on the books that I am currently reading. Have you read any of them? Are you interested in reading any of them? I would love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.